Hey guys, hope everyone is well today. Today I wanted to talk about life. So many questions revolving around life. So many unanswered questions that people have that search. I guess that's usually what we do in our life. We search for a purpose, for something greater, our destiny. Even being unsaved, we come to a position of wanting to know who we are in life. And that's ultimately why we make the decisions we do, and we get into drugs and alcohol and addictions into other things, gambling, shopping, so many things in life. We're looking for a purpose, or we're trying to fill the void because we can't find the purpose. So, whatever it may be, everybody has gone through some part of it in their life. Midlife crisis. But there is so much more to life than what we see in front of us, what we maybe even think life is supposed to be. And so today I want to share some stuff with you guys, a little bit about what, if you have watched I believe I called it my vision video that I had shared. If anybody has watched that, you're going to understand a little more of what I'm talking about today as I mention it a little later on. If you haven't, that's okay. It's not a big mystery. It's just something that God had showed me about when He created me. I didn't speak in detail about the vision in the video, but I just wanted people to know where kind of an idea of what it was I wanted to share, as it wasn't just for me but for other people as well. So talking about life, I know that most of us go through life searching or working towards something. And usually that becomes our life. That becomes who we are. We identify with those things because it is something we have accomplished. Things like things we've done, positions we hold, places we've gone, memories we have or made, the fun that we've had or shared with other people, our careers, our success, whatever those things may be. Everybody's different. Everybody's gone down a different path in life, have made different choices. Some things become a part of someone more than someone else. So everybody's on their own journey, but just generally, all these things are usually what we surround our life with or prepare for. We're always working so hard to save money for retirement. And then you get to retirement, you're like, I'm not there, I know that, but you get to retirement and you're like, what's next? What do I do? Where do I go from here? And I see a lot. And unfortunately, in that place, the sad part is a lot of people that get into a retirement position often don't live very long after that point. It's like everything that they've done, everywhere they have succeeded in life, and they've come to this end place, and it's like supposed to be a position of, oh, it's time to relax and enjoy life. And I guess some people do, I'm sure, depending on your financial situation. Some people have, the funds to be able to go out and explore and go, view the world and go on vacations and do all kinds of things. But there's a lot of people that haven't been able to make that kind of money to be able to just spend the rest of their life just traveling or whatever it may be. And so a lot live like that, and they become they go from being busy to being, what do I do now? Where's my life? And their life has gone by. So the things that they have worked for, the things they have done in life, the places they've gone, the possessions they've accumulated based on their life and what they've done is all temporary. Those things are very temporary, but we don't see it as that. You know, and then, you know what, there's also people too that during the position of life, somewhere in life, doesn't all have to do with retirement, but in that position, in that timing, you know, it can be at the beginning. Some people experience these things in teenage years, and I'm sure teenage years is a position where lots of people have experienced depression, confusion, identity issues, like so much stuff going on. And so I understand, you know, it could happen very early in life. But then there's also different times in life, you know, people experience things. It could be a situation that caused it. It could just be, you know, it could be mental stuff. There's so many reasons. And so you come across, or you come into this state where, you know, why does it feel so great for such a temporary time? So you're enjoying the things you have and the things you have accomplished, even, you know, in a short time. You don't have to be old to do it, to come to this place. But, you know, you come to a position where you're like, wow, this was so exciting and I loved it. And then you're back, you know, or you're at the first time, you're like, whoa, you know, I'm all that just happened to me and I just did all this stuff, but I'm not feeling that way. I'm sad, or I'm depressed, or I feel hopeless, or I'm alone. And a lot of times it's situations. We you know, we lose someone, or relationships end, or, you know, kids, whatever it may be. We come into that. A lot of stuff from the enemy too comes and just destroys, you know, our life before we're saved. He just, everything he could lie to us about, he does, and deceive us, and just bring us into this place of just bondage. And so we get all these things, and we're not happy. We're at this position now, and now we're questioning, or we're running to the next thing. We're either in this place of hopelessness, and I don't want to leave. I'm going to stay in my bed. I'm going to do my own thing, and see nobody, talk to nobody. Or there's people that are like so depressed, so sad, and they're like, I need to run to the next thing. You know, I need to go to the next, even in, well, you see this sometimes, you know, in the church. You know, people run from revival to revival, and prayer meeting to prayer meeting, and this is wrong, this is wrong, this is going on, and they haven't come into that position of freedom. And so we go back into bondage if you're saved, and if not, in what I'm talking about. And so we're running to the next thing. And then when you're not saved, you're running to addictions. And it doesn't have to be illegal. You know, it could be shopping, it could be food, it could be, you know, obsessing with you know, going out and spending money and buying clothes and shoes and cars, and, you know, people live by what they own. You know, that's like, ooh, look at me, I got all this, so this is who I am. And that becomes their identity, or that is their identity. It doesn't become, it's from the lifestyle. And so running from one position to the next is unfortunately just not going to cut it. So you come with all these questions, and you're questioning life. Why? What's going on? What is really, is this really it? Is this what life is about? Is just living from reality to reality, or from emptiness to emptiness? Is there no meaning for me, no purpose for my life? And so you just go through all these things. But there is a but. We have been given life, every single one of us. It is for all, not for some, not for elect. For elect, people think that means, you know, for Jews or whatever people come to that conclusion to being. It is for every single one of us. In all reality, regardless if God created Jews or other people, not created, but has walked. We see in the Old Testament how he continuously called out his people. Regardless of all that, every single one of us was created by God and in his image. Every single one of us. So no matter where, history lies, we all were created for something and for someone. And we were given life, free life, that we never worked for. We don't have to work for it. We never have to work for it. And our purpose is for God first and for others. That's like an overflow is for others. We are initially created for God. And because of the fall, man, others are lost, and we reach out. We go out and see the lost, save the lost, call on the lost, help the lost, the needy, the alone, the people that are hurting, that don't have God or don't know God. And so we share what God has given to us truly out of love, so that when we come into a path with another person, we can share the worth that we know, the love that we know, the peace that we know, the everything. I could sit here and name it forever, and I'm not going to go on. Just everything that God has given to us is for everyone else. And if we're walking in Christ, it's going to expel out of us. And so we want them to know Christ. We want them to come into that position of freedom and out of bondage. So when we come into that person, our relationship with God is really important, because it depends on where we are with God, is where other people are going to see and where we're going to be able to help other people. And I know life because he gave me a meaning to my existence. That's important. I didn't know that before. I didn't. It seems so a statement that, yeah, it makes sense, and yeah, that's what it is, but I never knew that. And before you come to Christ, you really don't know that. So, very important. But you will never really know true life, love, without Jesus, until you know Jesus. So you need to let him become everything to you. You got to let him in and just give him, that opportunity to just share his love with you. So as I go on, I got a little carried away there with some examples and stuff I was talking about, just sharing my heart. And sometimes too, it's nice to hear someone speak of things that you're going through. It's nice to hear someone that speaks about God and God's love and everything that is about God, but it's hard to relate when you're over here in your hopelessness and despair, and so it's nice for me to be able to express that to people. And the reason that I do and I'm able to do that is because I was once there myself. I was at a very deep place and in bondage, and didn't know who I was, and didn't live in the freedom that was given to me. So I couldn't live there, and so I know the feeling, I know the experience, I know the torment, and so I want to express that, and I hope to express that in majority of my videos, depending on the topic. I would like to share with every one of you guys a little bit about my life, and eventually I'm going to tell my testimony, but I would like to just share a little bit about it and just relate to people, so whoever is watching, if they're going through something that I'm speaking about, it speaks to them, and it's easier to understand and to relate to me and where I'm talking about, because I'm not some person that's been following Christ my whole life and free, and I was at a dark place. So, and that's what you think when you're in a dark place. You look at someone that has been freed, and you're like, you can't even understand them. You're like confused, and like, oh, I'll never have that. I've been over here struggling with this, and that's it. And so that's a tough place to be. So I want to be understanding and supportive as I do my videos with you guys, when it comes to maybe what others are going through. Because obviously these videos are not made for Christians specifically. It's for anyone. I just want to share whatever God is putting on my heart to share, and what I'm learning as I read the Word, and encouraging, and as I go encouraging others to do the same as well, and being a good steward of what God has given me. So anyways, let's move on. So when you create something, I got some definitions here I want to share. I'm just gonna kind of pull some stuff up here as I go. So when you create something, you make it the way you want to make it. So, for example, if you're gonna, mom, dad, whoever cooks supper or lunch or breakfast or whatever it may be, or dessert, or you like to bake, and you have a recipe. If you're making potatoes, let's just say, it's gonna sound ridiculous, I'm gonna throw out something absolutely crazy, but when you create a dish and say you're gonna make mashed potatoes, you are going to make it the way you like it. You're gonna add all the things you want in it. You're not gonna add the things you don't like. You're not gonna go and put gummy bears in your mashed potatoes, right? If you do, well, enjoy. I'm good. But that's the thing. If you're creating, you get to put what you want, what you like, and you're gonna add what you want to it. And so the same thing when you want to add, you're making a pasta dish, and this time you want to make it different. You want to add different seasoning, so you're gonna experiment and make new. You're gonna make it new. So you're creating, and creating comes from a deep place, a deep place in your heart. Creating doesn't just come from just like, oh, a little thought in here, I'm going to create. Creating comes ultimately from the Creator, and that's not a simple thing. It's not a simple position. He created everything, like everything that we see, because all the things that were created by man had ideas in creation from God. So everything was created, or everything that was created was created by God. So there was a creator, and he had an intent in it. And so when you create something, you always have a purpose in it. You're not just going to create something for nothing. It wouldn't make any sense. So you're going to create for a purpose. Like the light bulb. I know it's a simple example, but it's a good one. The light bulb was made, and its specific purpose, was for bringing light out of the darkness. So where it was dark at night, in your house, wherever it was meant to bring light. It was the purpose of it. It wasn't to put the bulb on your dresser to look, as a decoration. It wasn't meant to put in the fridge to get cold. It wasn't meant for going in car rides. It was meant to create light. So its purpose was to bring light into the dark areas. Vehicles, same thing. A vehicle was designed to make life easier, to be able to drive and get to places faster. At one point, horses and carriages and walking was the way to move around. And vehicles became a design first, and then a creation, so you can get to where you're going, go to work, travel, visit people faster. And now you can put things in your car, and they're fancy and expensive, and now they're driving themselves. But the purpose of it was to get you from point A to point B, was to get you somewhere, was to take you and other people. There was different reasons and different things you can do with a car, but its purpose was to go from one place to another faster than the mode of transportation was before it. And so its purpose was that. And so on. There's so many examples I can give on what things were created for. And I'm just not going to go there because, well, my video would never end. And like I said, I have notes. I write notes, or I'll go off talking about things and then I forget what I want to bring up. So I have little notes. So again, everything was created for a purpose. Nothing, absolutely nothing in this world, human, unhuman, object, part of nature, no matter what it was, nothing was created without design and pleasure. You may wonder what that means. Well, isn't that the same thing? No. It's different, actually. So again, nothing created was without design and pleasure. And I will explain that. And I'm going to explain how we were designed and created shortly as I go along here. Sorry, I'm just catching up with my notes here. So I and you were created by God, just like everything else we just talked about. We were not just a thought to God. It wasn't just, well, I'm going to think about it and then, that's it. And there they are. They're in the world and they're a person. I really don't believe, and there is scripture that talks about it, but I don't believe that is what happened. I had a vision, and God showed me, but I really do believe an intimate God, a loving God, caring and sensitive and patient and kind God that we have and that we serve doesn't just make a thought and that's it and that's how it is. He is intimate. There had to have been intimacy when you were thought of. And that's what I want to talk about as we go on. So we were all designed, and I want to talk about the difference and the explanation of designed and creating. Very important because they're very different. They can seem to be the same as when you think about it, but they have different meanings. So if we look at the meaning of the word design, it means, or the definition is decided upon the look and function of. So to design is to decide upon the look and function of something, of something that you want to happen, you want to make. And another one is you do or you plan something with a specific purpose or intention in mind. That's what designing means, a design. So it's almost like, if I can give an example to make it a little easier to understand, it's like a blueprint. A design is like making a plan. It's like coming up with ideas. So if I'm going to make a poster, I'm going to get out all my stuff to make the poster, and I'm not just going to, and my poster is about something I want to, thinking of an idea I've done recently with the girls. I homeschool my kids, so my daughter had she picked a thing from a hat, and she had to do an essay on it, and she has to do a PowerPoint, and at times she does either a poster or a big sign. And so I tell her, make sure you're prepared, make sure you think about it first. You don't just start doing your thing. You can do that, but if you make a mistake, well, you can't just go and erase your marker or your pen. And so you're going to start creating all of your ideas down. You're going to start writing them all down. You're going to write down, okay, I want this, I want that. What kind of point do I want? What do I want to speak about? What kind of pictures do I want? You start creating and you start getting all the ideas and everything that you like. And you remove all the things you don't want from the ideas that you're getting. And so that is specifically for design. Now, creating is to put into action. So creating is the design, or sorry, now I'm confusing my words here, sorry. A design, you are planning it, and creating, you're putting it into an action. You're actually going to do it. So what you thought about what you're going to do, you're now going to do it. So you got all your ideas for your poster. Now you're going to make your poster. You're going to put all your pictures together. You're going to make your title. You're going to put your headings. You're going to put your words. Do all your stuff. So that's what you're going to do. The definition is to put into action. It is also the building process. So it's a process of building, of constructing. So when an architect builds, an architect comes together and a team, and they start, they got all their designs together, and then they start to create the building. They get all their supplies, and they start putting them together. If you're building a log house, you're going to take all your logs and you're going to start, putting them on top of each other, and you're going to make sure that they fit, and you're going to start assembling it up, to make your walls and your frame, or if your foundation first, obviously, always need a foundation, but you're going to start to put it together. You're actually doing the physical part of it. It's not the thought anymore. It's not the preparing. It's now, let's get to it. Let's do it. And so it is a form and it is a fashion, is also the description of that word. And so when we put that into a position, into where we fit into that, because creating and design is all great with things in the world, but where do we fit in? Where do you fit in? What did God do when he's creating everything? What did he do when it came to you coming into this world? Did he just think of you and that was it? Then go? He thought, I'm gonna, this is who she is, or this is who he is, and, you're born on this day and that's it. Like I said before, I don't believe that. I really think, and it's from my heart, I really see an intimate relationship, a bond that we had in the beginning, as I had mentioned in my vision that I spoke about the other day. So that intimate moment with God and I, in that vision that I had, as he seen me, and I'm telling a little bit about my vision now if you haven't watched the other video. There was an intimate moment. I seen myself as a seed, and I seen as I was in his heart, before the creation of the world, I seen him designing me. I seen the beautiful, just how he put all the care and the thought into designing me. He chose, and I can see it going into the seed. I seen my features. I seen my DNA, my prints, like my fingerprints, your toes, your body parts, what you would look like, my voice, what you hear. I seen also too, not just those things, but I seen interests and talents and qualities and all the gifts he wanted me to have. I seen all those things, and it wasn't just like, hey, really quick, put it in a jar and shut the jar. It was so intimately like he really was making sure, like, this is, like incubation, like this is exactly how I wanted to come out, and that's how I seen this intimacy between him and I. And in the distance, I can see other seeds. It was faint, but I could see, I can't even give you a number. It was like just trillions upon trillions and trillions, and it's just, there was so many seeds. There was no number to put to it. And I knew that those were seeds of his intimacy personally with him and that person as well, I started to realize as the vision went on that these were moments he shared with other people and in his creation. So, also, I want to finish up here. I don't want to go too long. I normally like to break my videos up because I don't want to make them so long that people are like, oh, when is it going to end? So I normally, if I'm going to make a long video, I'm going to break it up. And I just realized that I'm going on for 30 minutes here. So I was thinking of either going really quick and finishing and explaining what God had put on my heart, or and start a second video, which I think I'm gonna do. I did speak a little bit about what people were going through in this video, which was not exactly what I wasn't planning on speaking about. So my time went on a little longer than I expected, which is okay. That's how things go. So I will end this video, and I will share a second video, and I will put it under the link. I will attach it to the first video so you'll be able to see it underneath this one. So stay tuned.